When it comes to finishing tracks, what do prolific producers do that you don't? You've watched the tutorials, you know the theory, you've tried and tried, but something's still not clicking. I'm Minosaur, I've been releasing records for over 20 years, and I've helped thousands of producers get unstuck. And by studying the best pro artists, I've noticed 3 less obvious habits that separate the ones who make great tracks consistently from the ones who don't. So today I'm going to break down process, instinct, and space. How you work, how you react, and how you reset. These all depend on each other. And I've put all 3 habits in a free guide you can download below. So habit 1 is process. Here's something I used to do all the time. I'd read a tip online like limit yourself to 3 plugins or do a beat a day challenge. I'd try it and it wouldn't work. The reason why is because those were someone else's constraints for someone else's problems. It's like going to the doctors with a bad knee and being prescribed glasses. One example comes from a duo who weren't actually that prolific, but are still highly regarded. When Daft Punk made Discovery, they gave themselves total freedom, no time limits, no restrictions. It took 2 years, and the result was one of the greatest electronic albums ever made. And by the end, they were completely burned out. So for their next album, they learned from what they hated and they did the exact opposite. 6 weeks, 2 guitars, 2 drum machines, a vocoder and an 8-track later, and Human After All was born. And even though that album isn't as well loved by fans, they called it their personal favourite album at the time. So they diagnosed their own problem. Too much freedom was paralysing them, and then they prescribed the opposite, a 6-week constraint. So ask yourself this: what specific problem is blocking you from finishing music right now? Feel free to drop it in a comment below. If you're a perfectionist who tweaks for months, your constraint should be a deadline. But if you rush through ideas and your music feels sloppy, a deadline will only make you sloppier. So you need the opposite, to commit to one idea for longer than feels comfortable. I was getting stuck a lot because I lacked momentum and a clear path. Mapping out a framework to get around that helped me finish 31 tracks in a year. So habit 1 is this: know your pattern. Study how you work. Figure out where you get stuck. Then design a rule or constraint that forces you the other way. You can do that by writing down where your last few projects stalled. Say you get lost choosing sounds, or maybe your tracks die at the arrangement stage. Now pick one rule for your next session that directly targets that sticking point. So the solution for this one could be to choose all your sounds within 15 minutes and commit. Or for this one, you could force yourself to arrange the track all in the first session. Okay, knowing your pattern is one thing, but this won't stop you from freezing up mid-session. And this is where number 2, instinct, comes in. Jack Antonoff is a 3-time Grammy-winning producer of the year. He's produced for all the big dogs. And he said something that grabbed me: it's boring to know what you're doing in the studio. Once you know what you're doing, the magic leaves. So basically, the less you think, the better you create in the moment, because your brain struggles to generate and evaluate at the same time. It's like pressing down on the accelerator and the brake together. When I was editor of Computer Music magazine, filling my head with production knowledge was great for my day job, but when it was time to make my music, all that knowledge turned into a committee in my head and my music suffered. So I learned to switch it off and deliberately make myself stupid in the studio. By being selectively thick on purpose, I lock into the flow state where time vanishes. I'm sure everyone watching this knows enough to put a good track together. The problem is you know too much and it's all trying to talk at once. This comment on one of my videos says it all. This is what happens when the knowledge brain is fully in charge. So habit 2 is this: train your knowledge before and after the session if you have to. This doesn't mean uninstall your brain permanently, but when you're creating, try to shut it off and actually connect with the music and give your inner critic the day off. Some practical ways to do this: no distractions, phone on silent face down, and no tutorials during music time. Yes, I get the irony in me saying that. And the easiest way to stop overthinking is with a simple system that you've adapted to how you work. This can be one that's proven to work for others, or you can design your own. When your workflow is scaffolding you can rely on, you can move to loop to done on instinct. Okay, habit 3, space. This one is the sneakiest because it's not about what's in your head, it's about your surroundings. Have you ever taken a laptop and headphones to a coffee shop, or on holiday, or just to the sofa and instantly felt more creative? Like the ideas come faster and you don't second guess them as much? Well, there's a reason for that. Your studio is working against you. Think about your main setup and the baggage that lives there. Your unfinished projects, failed ideas, the same template, all the same plugins. Every time you sit in that same chair, your brain loads all of it up before you've even opened a project. But a new space has none of that baggage, and this is how Over Mono started. The duo turned a cottage in South Wales into a makeshift studio and wrote 10 tunes in a week. And they still work in short, intense sessions in a new environment. They say the best stuff comes when they disconnect completely and just have fun. So when your surroundings change, your defaults break. You break habits and make different decisions, and different decisions lead to different music. You could try something like this commenter who goes and produces on a laptop in a tent. I think that's really cool. Getting outside in nature is a classic creativity sparker. Every year when I'm away at Christmas, I find pockets of time to sit on my laptop with headphones, and I seem to make unusually weird creative music. It's like the time of year and the new location unlocks something inside I can't normally access. This is one of these Christmas tracks, and I know it is because I named it Sprout. And you don't need an Airbnb or a tent. Switching up your virtual environment works just as well. Recently, I've been reconnecting with an old flame. Cubase was my first DAW, and I've started using it again after all these years. Don't get jealous, Ableton, you're still my number one. But you don't even need to change your DAW, just to switch the colour scheme, or try a different template, dig out a plugin you never used, make a genre you never tried. Sometimes for fun, I make everything in audio, even when MIDI would make more sense. This different perspective always sparks great ideas. So habit 3 is this: when you feel stuck in a rut, change something about your space and notice how your decisions feel different. Pick one environment change from what we just talked about and try it in your next session. Go on, pitch a tent in your garden and make a banger. So those are the 3 more habits of prolific producers. I've recapped all 3 in a free guide to help you find your pattern, switch off your knowledge brain and shake up your space. I'll put a link below. And if you want to bake these into your actual music making, hundreds of producers are already using my Loop to Track workout to stay focused and finish tracks. Go to looptotrack.com or click the link below. And these 3 habits you just learned only work if you have the foundational habits in place, otherwise everything falls apart. So to find out what those are, go and watch this video right here. Right, I'm off to make a banger in a tent.